And so if I found out through this person that, they got, let's say, $30,000 in credit card debt. Is that a fair amount to say? Pretty common. And then I'll ask them, I'll say, okay, cool, how much do you pay towards the credit card debt? Just roughly, I don't need it in exact. And I'm listening to their response. Because if they say like, I think we, or we, then I'm paying attention to who needs to be at the pitch table. Make sense? If they say maybe around 600, like they don't know, I know that somebody else needs to be at the pitch table because they're not tied to that number. Get it? I need the person who's tied to the number, who feels the pain from that number to be at the pitch table. It's very important. If you can do that moving forward, I guarantee you will increase your sales.
Common collected with the connection. This ain't no click, boy, that's a collective. More than objects, yeah, that's the objective. You fitting me? So
sometimes they'll say $355, like spot on. Like, ooh, this person knows their numbers. Get it? But regardless of what they say, I then back it up and say, is that the minimum or are you paying above and beyond? A lot of times they'll say, oh, we're just paying the minimum. Got it. But now I at least have some leverage. So if this person gave me kickback, then I'm going to put that back in the air and be like, hey, you know what? No, I understand that you don't have any time. I understand pricing is important to you. But here's what I did find, Jim, is that because of your inability to pay above the minimum towards your credit card debt, I can imagine that you don't have at least 12 months of living in your bank account. If this is something that you believe needs to be done, I think I can help you. Now they can't find, okay, well, what do you got? Right? This is how you bring them back, but you wouldn't know how to bring them back if your focus was on interest rate. Got it? Oh, you just need the interest rate. Well, what rate do you got right now? You got 3.25. What do you do? How do you come back to that? Yee. Yee. There's nothing that you could say to that. So why ask it? Get it? And how we ask it, we don't necessarily say, what's your rate? Well, how we ask it is, how can I help you? Right? Or what are you looking to do today? That's actually how we invite them to say, engage the rest of that conversation. And then finally getting shopped. The reason why I say we're a direct servicer to the source is because these people already, depending on how they connected to us, they feel the need to shop. They feel the need to compare. A mortgage is a very, very, very important decision. Got it? This is the biggest debt that you have. But I need you to understand something also is that just like, not everybody did invite themselves here, not everybody thinks of certain things the same way. So people will think of a mortgage in a completely different way than another person. Like, for example, some person will look at a mortgage as the thing that they need to pay off as soon as possible, right? And this is typically from the prospect who says, oh, but I'm going back to a 30. Makes sense? Then that will come up. And so now you kind of see his view on the mortgage. Okay, great, you're trying to pay it off. And typically it's funny because the people who want to pay off the mortgage are the 630 FICO, $90,000 in credit card debt, 2 cents in the bank, but they're worried about going back to a 30. Right? Like, no, boo-boo. You're looking at the wrong part of the process. Look, this is what you want to do. But see, this is true, and I believe the reason why you guys laughed is because we already went through that. And I want us to pay attention how we reacted when that happened. It wasn't a laugh. I guarantee you it was with frustration. And another thing about my mentor, I'm just sharing all these fun facts about my mentor, is my mentor told me to have patience for the less knowing, or for the uninformed. Yes. So have patience for the uninformed. In other words, have patience for people who don't understand what you understand. These people are not NMLS licensed. They haven't been in the game, right? They're actually spitting out what they don't understand. And if we have the patience to make it easy for them to understand, we make it easy for them to say yes. Make sense? And that's one major thing is, like, we have to make it easier for them to say yes at the close. We have to make it easier for them to say yes to take the call, to take the pitch, to answer back. And that's why wordplay is different, right? Like, we leave messages instead of saying, hey, this is Daniel, just checking back on the numbers that we ran together on Monday. I just wanted to see if you and your wife thought about it. I see some major benefit. The market did change, though. So before the market goes up, I want to make sure that you guys have any questions if we want to move forward. That's one message, and that's a very common message. You probably hear it all the time. You're like, damn, Dita, you just said my message. It might be you, boo. And so the real way to leave a message, you'd be like, hey, Daniel, hey, Jim, this is Daniel. You know what? I found something. I reviewed your file with my manager. He pointed something out. I completely missed it. You know what? Let's do this. Before I send it over to you, give me a call back. I want to get your feedback. Now that's a fucking message. Get it? I've made it easier for them to call me back. And I made it enticing. I've created curiosity. It's the same exact message. All I'm going to do when he calls back and be like, yo, what did you find? Oh, this is what I found. First off, let me ask you this. When you talked to your wife about, or blah, 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 what was the major concern? Was it the fee or the rate? And then they're going to be like, well, the rate. Okay, got it. Well, here's what he pointed out is that you can get a lower rate. We might be able to get a property inspection waiver, right? And we might be able to do this, but here's the thing is he wants a second look at your file, but he's going to need these documents. Now you can gauge them, right? But at least you got them back. And that's the whole reason why we leave messages. The problem is we'll leave messages, and the people that we do get back and we can sell them, we go right into selling. And then they're triggered to remember like, oh, I told this fucker no. I told him no already. Does that make sense? I promise you this is how they think because people are just busy, so they're processing things a different way. And if we don't look at that, then there's no actual set course. We're not paying attention and giving respect to KPIs. Because KPIs ultimately is the science of saying, okay, well, if I do this and this, then I get this. That's ultimately what KPI is. If you improve on your credit pool, then you'll obviously improve on your lock or your credit pool to lock because it's just natural, right? So in other words, if you can only lock 1 of 10, well then go take 20 and you'll get 2 locks. Get it? If you want 3 locks, then that just means you need 30 leads that day. It's all up to you. And so sometimes you look at them like, man, there's no way I can get 30 leads. Okay, cool. So then I got something for you. It's the information I'm sharing with you right here. You want to be efficient. You want to lock, let's say, 5 out of 10 people that you talk to. The way you do it is you just understand how they think and how they process and how they communicate, right? And if you can understand how they communicate, if you understand like these little quotes of like people don't know what they like what they know, and you really understand like, well, what is at work? Then you're doing more than just learning a script, right? I can give you script for days. I can say, hey, say this, say that, or I can give you the wording, say this, say that, but it's not that. It's the message, right? It's just understanding that communication. After you do your pitch, you're only going to get so many objections or reasons why they don't buy from you, right? And typically those reasons are, I need to talk to my wife about this. And again, just like KPI, like we could find the leak. Well, why am I running into that objection? Well, the leak happened when you decided to set the appointment with them only. Get it? That's where the leak is. So if you know that the leak is here, then just change up your wordplay and strategy. Instead of saying, all right, instead of you thinking, because when you're done pulling an application and you're about to work up the numbers, this is typically how it sounds. All right, it's going to take me about 30 minutes to put the information together. Can I give you a call back in an hour? It's your time to shine. This is your only chance to justify the full hour that you spent with this guy, the 30 minutes that you're going to price it up, 20 minutes you're going to scrub their credit. You're doing all this, and that's how you're opening your time to shine. So if we instead actually made the time, right? And this is why it's effective, and say, hey, you know what? Let me run a few things by my manager. When they hear that, they believe they're getting kind of red carpet. Does that make sense? They're getting something that's not necessarily available. That's how they perceive it. I want to run something by my manager just to make sure he approves me sending this to you. Regardless of what he says, I'll let you know. And then you make the appointment. You don't ask for the appointment. So it's the difference of saying, hey, I'll have everything priced up in 30 minutes. Can I call you back in an hour? We'll go through the options. Right? That's usually how it's set up. Instead say, hey, I should hear back from my manager about 3 o'clock, and that 3 o'clock is set by me because I've already looked at their work. I've already looked at their time zone, the likelihood of them being out of work, right? And so I set up the appointment like this, like, hey, I should hear from my manager in about a couple hours. Are you still going to be at work at 5? No, I'm actually leaving at about 5:30. Got it. Well, regardless of what he says, yes or no, I'm going to call to get your consent. And then I'll loop in your wife on our call so she can give consent also, and that way I can have it in your inbox before end of day today. Make sense? Now it's like, okay, cool, yeah, just give me a call at 5:30. Boom. They do not know it's a pitch.